Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this amazing Tuesday evening for all of this awesome women here on the talk on AI in Africa, women in AI. And before I continue, I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm Deshni Govender, and I'm basically an ethical AI advocate, a senior lawyer, and a member of Women in AI South Africa, where I assist the Women in AI South Africa ambassador, Dr. Natalie R., to basically bringing AI to SA. And before I go on, I would like to introduce my amazing panel of uber talented women. First off, to my left, I have Rose Delilah Gesicho, who is basically from Nairobi, Kenya, and is an LPM in Alliance for AI, where she manages a community of learners. And through Alliance for AI, they acquire knowledge and skills that prepare them for the future of work. She's also an ambassador for Zindi and Deep Learning AI, where she's also a community leader, and she coordinates programs for Nairobi women in machine learning and data science. To my right, I have Wuraola Oyewusi, who leads the research and innovative data science in Nigeria, and she's part of a really amazing vision to raise 1 million AI talents in 10 years. Below me, to the bottom of my screen, I have the really wonderful Gugu Sema with her funky pink headphones, who's from my home country, Centurion in South Africa, and she's the head of OIR at MICT, and she's spearheading the 4IR division and ensuring that 4IR skills, including artificial intelligence, are developed at a national occupational level and then registered with the South African Qualifications Authority. And next to her, I have Martha Tay. Martha Tay is the head of AI operations at, the head of AI operations at Zlitch Technologies in Ghana, and also the R&D and technology analyst at Interregional Bridge Group. And she loves developing AI innovative solutions for African problems. She also trains Ghanaian women with programming skills through her e-learning platform and co-leads the gathering of AI community leaders in Alliance for AI to create a global awareness of AI. So really, what are we actually doing here? What are we discussing? According to the MasterCard Index of Women Entrepreneurship for 2019, Uganda, Ghana, and Botswana are ranked among the top 10 globally in leading women's business ownership rates. But really, are we doing enough in Africa? Are we doing enough to promote business and women in AI and in the STEM fields in Africa? And this is what my amazing panel is going to discuss today. So if I can put out the first question to the panel, essentially, I think one of the key issues are that there are so many educated young women who are unemployed or cannot get employment in their selected fields. And many of them are educated and have qualifications and skills in the STEM roles. So what is really being done to get practical, to give these ladies practical work-related experience that they can actually pursue their career and not deter them from a STEM role?
Okay. Desh, I think I'd like to take this one. It all comes to what sort of education we are giving the people. So first, I'd like to tackle it from that point of view. So people are educated, yet they do not have the right skill set. But currently, we see women in Africa, or women in technology and STEM in the world who are trying to push to get more education and the skill sets, but there are certain barriers hindering them. This is problematic because sometimes we sit down and we think creating like a website for your startup means we are into tech, but that doesn't mean so. There are differences in that which needs to be really addressed. So I think currently what organizations or what individuals are doing is creating communities for these women so that we feel have a sense of belonging and then a sense of place for each and every one of us, so we don't feel left out at the end of the day. Currently in Africa, as I know, where we have the least representation in like women in STEM, there are these communities that provide mentorship opportunities and then even provide job opportunities to women. But then the problem still exists. How then do we access these opportunities, which is key? Because the opportunities are there, but people within remote areas and stuff do not even have access to them. There needs to be inclusiveness. So as women, what I see we should be doing is to be linking up with these communities, try and then volunteer so that we can surround ourselves with their communities. Because if we sit down and then expect them to come to us, sometimes we might not get it as such. So as the community and as the industry is also helping us build skills and helping us get the needed required skills for the job market, we also need to do our best. Secondly, too, there are so many open source projects out there now in the field of STEM. It might not even be the technical aspect of tech, but then with all other skills we have, we can also explore that by working on certain projects to expand our skills to get that needed working experience. And I think currently most companies give that opportunity. They have this space for women in tech to thrive or to go forward. So now that we have these two, I think we should make very good use of them, having the access to these opportunities and these communities and what they can offer. Participating in conferences like this, the Women in AI conference, is also key to help us because the platform has been set. How do we harness this platform to make it ours? So I think the education is key, and as we are getting the education, we all need to make that move to make sure that we also get the opportunities to be able to get the needed work experience, and that we can bridge that gap within STEM and the market.
Thank you, Martha. That's a really key points that you raise, and I like the fact that you talk about inclusivity and opportunities. So maybe on that point, let me address this question then. In the current startup ecosystem, or even in the business environment, there seems to be a continuation of this recycling amongst a very small percentage of people who are either already in that field, who have the connections, who know people, and are able to get a foot in the door. So the situation makes it very difficult for either people who are looking to start up in the field to get to progress in the field, or even for non-traditional founders and female business owners. So what can we do, and how can we contribute maybe to the change of opening that gap, of widening that gap and making it more inclusive and more and available for people, and not deter them because of this closed ecosystem?
Okay. I matter. So I'll take that. I think this question about people, from other field, I'm not from STEM, now I'm in STEM. I think this question is perfect for me because my background is in pharmacy, but I have a non-computing background, and I've been able to make the switch. Yeah. It's one of the most popular questions that I get in the world. It's one of the most popular questions that I get in the world, that how did you make the switch? Do you think I qualify for this? Do you think it's just people that, okay, maybe studied computer? I'm a lawyer. I'm trying to do, Deshni is a lawyer. I'm trying to do something in it. There's this okay, that there is entrepreneurship, but what I tell everybody about this is that for every system, for entrepreneurship, for corporate world, for women entrepreneurs, the principle is the same. For women that want to do things, rise at their place of work in things related to AI, people that want to do things related to AI, it's the principle is the same. If you want to run a business, you want a credible idea, it's the same thing. And what I usually tell people, especially for people that are afraid that maybe they won't get the computing part of it, AI is large. Let's say someone is, and I usually say that you cannot, like the basics of researching that I learned that in pharmacy school. It's a transfer thing for me. It's not because, I'm now in AI and I need research, and that was the only thing that I had to learn. So I'll say that for people crossing over, for people trying to learn more, you've heard about the Industrial Revolution and you're thinking of how to be part of this, and you're wondering if there's a place for you. If there's a place for you, sure, there's a place for you. Of course, I tell people you do the hard work of understanding the concepts. I work with AI research at work. Nobody says, "Oh, you're a pharmacist. We are not going to ask you those questions." And when my papers are being reviewed, when so nobody gives you that. But I have a lot of respect for computing and tech generally, for the wisdom, for access to knowledge. It's amazing. It's amazing what you can do with your internet. It's amazing the number of things you can learn for free. And there is something that I tell women, especially, oh, okay, I think we're rounding up. There's something that I tell women. I know I'm a bit partial. I usually say, put it out there, because I know there's tendency for people to be afraid that maybe they will be overjudged as they are getting there. This thing is real. If you can answer the questions, you will be part of that world. Did I go well, Deshni? More questions, or we're true? We can go to the next one.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I love that, because the part about transferable skills, I think, is really, really important. And maybe if I can throw this one out then to the panel, is that how do women in positions of authority or power, or with the ability to affect change, to be able to open that gaps, to change the mindsets of those, bringing those transferable skills and saying, well, Wuraola is actually a pharmacist by profession and not a computer scientist, but we will still give her the same respect because she comes with those expertise and can bring that in. How do women who are in positions of power maybe effect change and support and mentor other women, to promote STEM and STEM related roles?
Okay, let me take that one. Thanks, Deshni. I think one thing is leaders or women in power, we need to ensure that we develop more leaders. And one way of doing that is mentorship. We can do that through mentorship.
Yes.
Identify women that you can mentor. And in mentorship, you also need to identify the skills gaps in those women. Now, we are in an era where technology is the key. There are a lot of advancement. We need to ensure that women, they take advantage of this technological advancement. They need to learn the new skills. I like what Ursula said. She was a pharmacist, then she changed career. So as women in leadership, we can influence other women, because there's a lot of women who are in different careers, and most of those careers, they don't find joy. And it's never too late to change a career and start a new career. With technology, there's a lot of skills that women can learn, and out of that, they can even make a business. They can venture into business. So as women in leadership, we need to make sure that we create environment where we develop young women and ensure that we empower them with the relevant skills, the tech skills. There's so many OEMs companies that have free tech courses. We also advise them to take advantage of those. Just to talk about what I'm currently doing in my country, with 4IR being here, we have identified skills that needs to be developed. And we are now busy developing qualifications that will address the 4IR skills. We will be registering those qualifications at the National the Qualification Authority. And once they've been there and registered, they will be open for anyone that needs to learn those skills. We have institutions that fund different skills. MICT is one of the institutions that provide funding for skills development, especially for the tech skills that are now needed, and they will also be needed in the future.
Thank you so much, Gugu. That's really great, and I think that's important things that you're highlighting on, recognizing and formalizing those skills. But do you think maybe, and I'll put this out, maybe I'm going to throw this one to you, Rose. Do you think perhaps having the skills are enough, considering that the roles are predominantly still male dominated? So, and the sector and technology in general is still male dominated, even the women are making these headways and doing the extra that they can. So I'm going to throw this one out to you, just a little bit of a curveball. What do you think the role of men is in supporting and mentoring and advancing women? And how do you think that we can actually make men our allies? I mean, the intention is not that they're our enemies, but how do you think we can make them our allies and get them on our page to also help promote and advance the role of women and mentor them and transfer skill to them?
Thank you, Deshni, for that question. So I believe men are also part of this, because we are not only advocating for women to be inclusive or included into the entrepreneurship world or the technical world, but we are also advocating for men to be in support of these women so that we can all be equal. So what I can say about this, we as women, first of all, should really be open to receiving feedback from men, because at times you can find that we are the ones who are blocking away the men who are trying to help us with the mentality that they are thinking less of us, or they have this tendency of mansplaining to us. But at some point you have to also think of a positive we should have a positive attitude towards these men giving us advice. We should actually take it in and try to analyze the problem. Sometimes we don't see the problem with us. We tend to think that we are correct at this point, and this man is trying to do something or to try to explain something that is not relevant to me, or I understand what I am doing, so he's trying to make me feel like I'm not competent or something. So at some point we have to also humble ourselves and also understand where they're coming from. So at times men are want to become allies but don't understand how they can do that. And to the men who are aiming to be allies of women in tech, the first thing you can do is listen to us women. So at times you can think you're trying to help, or you have a positive attitude, but at times it comes out in a wrong way, or it may come out in a way that is not showing what your intentions are. So you can also try to listen, even during the boardroom meetings that you might have, and you might have like ideas and you're trying to pitch them out. You should also try and include the women and try to listen to their ideas too. And also in terms of maybe upskilling, or when you're looking for a promotion, you should also try to encourage a fellow woman where you're working with, who you're working with, to also apply for that promotion so that you can be at par. These are some of the ways that you can become an ally for the women in tech and motivate them also to know their worth, and also encourage them to accept, to try their best not to think less of themselves, but to share out their views according to how they feel, because at times you find women are not really confident to do so at some point. So please always try to be there for them and try to upskill them and help them grow in the industry and seek opportunities for growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's really insightful. Martha, do you have maybe any last thoughts? I think we're almost out of time, but maybe you can squeeze some words of wisdom on the last thought on how men can support women or becoming an ally?
Yeah, so thank you, Desh. I think, as Rose said, the men are there to support us and they should listen to us women. Because I won't share this more story. When I decided to start to learn how to code, actually, the first thing the guy told me was, no, you can't, you're a lady. and that was heartbreaking at first, but then in order to prove them wrong, and luckily for me too, he was the same person that taught me. So it was just a way to see if I was serious or not. So sometimes we get these comments and we shouldn't take them personal. Once the focus is there, the passion is there, I think we should try to prove the men wrong and tell them that we can learn as equally as they do. If they give us the chance and the skills, the needed training, would be able to do the same. So I think I agree with what Rose said, and the men should definitely be allies to us and then help us get to that bridge or cross over that bridge. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, it reminds me of a saying that we have in South Africa. It says, when you strike a woman, you strike a rock. And essentially what that means is that we are really formidable as African women. We are formidable, and if we put our minds to it, we can really and truly achieve anything we want to. And unfortunately, I see Wuraola has left us. But ladies, thank you so much for joining this panel and for providing your insight and providing inspiration to millions of women who I know are going to be really amazing in taking your advice and taking that motivation and moving forward with that in their careers. So thank you so much. And thank you to Women in AI for hosting us on this platform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to check out. Thanks, guys. Bye.